Would you believe me if I told you that the day I secured a $10 million contract, the biggest achievement of my life, was also the day my own sister tried to kill me? Let me take you back to where it all began. My name is Emily Thompson. I'm 28 years old, a software engineer living in Boston. For the last 5 years, I've been consumed, obsessed really, by one project, an AI medical diagnostics algorithm, a system designed to catch diseases earlier, faster, more accurately than any doctor could. Sleepless nights, endless lines of code, cups of coffee that tasted more like survival fuel than comfort. And then, finally, it happened. A major healthcare corporation signed my work. $10 million, 10 years of guaranteed implementation. My life was about to change forever. I should have been floating on air, right? But instead, what I remember most from that night was the sound of my body hitting hardwood stairs. On the drive back to my parents' house in the suburbs, I was buzzing. You know that feeling when you can't wait to share good news with the people you love? That was me. Windows down, music blasting. Every traffic light felt like it was taking forever. I rehearsed how I'd tell them, "Mom, Dad, you won't believe this. My algorithm just landed a $10 million deal. I pictured hugs, tears, maybe even pride. But deep down, I should have known better. Because in my family, there was always someone else. Someone who got the spotlight. Someone who wore the invisible crown. Her name was Olivia, my sister, 32 years old, project manager at the same company where I worked, the golden child, the one my parents never stopped bragging about, the one who could do no wrong. And me? I was the quiet one, the worker bee, the background character in my own family story. I pulled into the driveway just past 8 p.m. The porch light was on. Inside, the house smelled like cinnamon candles and old wood polish. "Emily?" It was Olivia's voice drifting from the kitchen. I grinned. This was it. The moment I'd waited for. "I did it," I said, walking in, my laptop bag slung over my shoulder. The deal went through. 10 million. They signed my algorithm. I waited. For congratulations, for excitement, for anything. Instead, Olivia's eyes narrowed. Her smile, if you could call it that, looked more like a wince. "You're joking." "No, Liv. I'm serious. It's official. We're in. My work is going to—" "Your work?" Her voice sharpened. The air seemed to crackle between us. "Yes, my algorithm. The one I've been building for years." She slammed her coffee mug down. "Do you even hear yourself? Without me pushing the project inside the company, you'd still be some no-name coder. I carried you. I gave you visibility. And now you're acting like this is all yours?" I froze. Her words cut deeper than I expected, because part of me, just a tiny part, had feared she'd say something like this. But I never imagined what came next. We ended up standing at the top of the staircase, voices raised. Me, clutching the banister. Her, blocking my path. "Olivia," I said, trying to stay calm. "This isn't about stealing credit. There's more than enough success for both of us." She laughed, cold, bitter. "You've always been like this. Acting humble, pretending you're the victim. But you know what? You're not special, Emily. You never were." Something in her eyes scared me. Not just anger, something darker, something dangerous. "Liv, please, don't do this. I just want to celebrate with you," and then she shoved me. The world spun, hardwood slammed against the back of my skull. Pain exploded in my leg. A white flash swallowed everything. For a second, maybe longer, I thought I was dead. The last thing I saw before blacking out was Olivia's face. And God help me, she was smiling. When my eyes opened again, the world was different. Bright, sterile light pierced through my skull. Machines beeped in steady rhythm around me. My mouth was dry, my body heavy, my legs screaming in pain every time I shifted. I tried to speak, but only a broken rasp escaped my throat. That was the moment I realized I was in a hospital bed. I reached for memories, but they came in jagged flashes. The staircase, the crack of my skull, Olivia's smile. A nurse hurried in when she saw my eyes open. Her face softened with relief. "You're awake. You've been in a coma for 2 weeks." 2 weeks, just like that. 2 weeks of my life vanished. I searched the room, half expecting to see flowers, balloons, my parents' worried faces, maybe even Olivia's guilt-ridden apology. There was nothing. No cards. No signs of anyone waiting for me. Just the sharp smell of disinfectant and the hollow sound of my own breathing. "Has anyone visited?" I asked, my voice thin, almost afraid of the answer. The nurse hesitated, and that pause told me everything. "Your parents called once," she said finally. They said you brought the accident on yourself. That it's been hard for them, dealing with the shame. Shame. That word sliced deeper than any injury. I wasn't just abandoned. I was blamed. I turned my face away, tears stinging my eyes. My parents had always favored Olivia, but I never thought they would go this far. I nearly died, and they were worried about embarrassment. A few days later, Olivia did come. She walked in wearing a perfect blazer, hair done like she'd stepped out of a boardroom. She looked at me, broken and weak in that hospital bed, and smirked. "Well," she said, "I guess this worked out for the best. You should really stay out of the way now, Emily. Rest. Recover. Don't make things harder for yourself." Her words dripped with poison. She wasn't worried about me. She wasn't sorry. She was victorious. I stared at her, searching for the sister I thought I once knew. But all I saw was a rival who had just removed her biggest obstacle. When she left, the silence was unbearable. My chest tightened as the truth sank in. Not one member of my family cared whether I lived or died. The people who should have loved me the most had turned their backs, and my sister had nearly killed me and gotten away with it. The pain in my leg throbbed with every beat of my heart, but the ache in my chest was worse. It was the kind of wound no doctor could mend. Lying there, staring at the ceiling, I promised myself one thing. If Olivia thought I was out of the way, if she thought I'd just fade quietly into nothing, she was wrong. I didn't know how yet. I didn't know when. But I would come back. And when I did, Olivia would regret ever pushing me down those stairs. The days in the hospital blurred together. Endless tests, tasteless food, and a silence that weighed on me heavier than the cast around my leg. But the silence was broken one evening when the door cracked open and a familiar face slipped inside. "Emily?" "Mia." My throat tightened. My best friend, my only real friend at the company, stood there with red-rimmed eyes and a bag of takeout in her hands. She set it down on the tray. "God, I thought you weren't ever going to wake up." She leaned down and hugged me gently, careful not to touch my injuries. The warmth of her arms nearly broke me. "I thought no one cared," I whispered. "Not even my parents." Her jaw tightened. "I know. And I wish I could say I was surprised. But Emily, I need to tell you something. Something you're not going to want to hear." I searched her face, a cold fear crawling through me. "What is it?" She pulled a folded printout from her bag, hands trembling. "Olivia's been spreading lies. At the office, she's telling everyone the algorithm was hers, that she designed it, that you just assisted." "That's insane," I shot back, my voice breaking. "Everyone knows it's mine. I've been working on it for years." She barely understood the math behind it. Mia's eyes were filled with pity. "You know how she is. She's got charisma, connections, the ear of the executives. And now, she's positioning herself to take over the contract." I shook my head in disbelief. No, that contract is in my name. It's legally mine. Mia hesitated. That's what I thought too. But Emily, check your bank account. My heart slammed in my chest. With shaking hands, I grabbed my phone, opened the banking app, and froze. My account balance, the millions I should have had access to, was locked. A bold red message glared at me. Frozen pending court order. No. My stomach turned. This has to be a mistake. Mia's voice cracked. It's not. Olivia filed papers questioning your capacity to handle funds. She's saying you're incapacitated, mentally and physically unfit. And the worst part? The documents look real. I felt the room tilt. My breath came in shallow gasps. She planned this. From the moment she pushed me, she planned all of it. The door opened again, and a tall man in a sharp suit stepped in. His presence was calm, but his eyes carried urgency. Emily Thompson? Yes? My name's Alex Carter. I'm an attorney. A colleague at your company hired me to check on you. And after what I've seen, you're going to need me. He placed a folder on the tray, sliding it toward me. These are copies of the filings Olivia's team submitted. Power of attorney documents, medical affidavits, all claiming you're unfit. According to these, control of your contract has already been transferred. I stared at the signatures, my name scrawled in shaky handwriting that wasn't mine. These are forgeries. Alex nodded grimly. That's what I believe too. But it gets worse. Your medical records? They've been altered. It looks like someone inflated your condition, made it sound like you were brain damaged, incapable of decision-making. The air left my lungs. How could they even do that? The door cracked again, and this time it was Dr. Ellis, my physician. His face was etched with guilt. Because someone accessed your chart through hospital connections. I've been reviewing your file, and I can tell you now. Half of it is false. They wrote down cognitive impairment, severe neurological damage, none of which is true. My voice shook. And you think Olivia's behind this? Dr. Ellis exchanged a look with Alex. Given the timing, the motives, and the legal documents, yes. This was calculated. For a moment, no one spoke. The room buzzed with the sound of machines and my ragged breathing. Then something inside me snapped. She tried to kill me, I whispered. And now she's stealing everything I built. I can't. My voice broke. I won't let her get away with this. Mia squeezed my hand. Then fight back. We'll help you. Alex leaned forward, his voice steady but firm. Emily, I've handled fraud cases before. But I've never seen something this personal. If you want to take Olivia down, we'll need evidence. Hard proof. Recordings, documents, witnesses. Are you ready for that kind of battle? I locked eyes with him. The fear in me was still there, but beneath it, something new was rising. Anger, determination. Yes, I said. I'm ready. Dr. Ellis added quietly, I'll testify. I'll put my name on a report exposing the tampered records. The hospital administration won't be able to ignore it. Mia's voice burned with resolve. I've already saved emails. Internal ones where Olivia's claiming your work as hers. I'll get you more. Alex gave a sharp nod. Good. Then we start building the case. Every lie she's told, every step she's taken, we'll turn it against her. As I sat there, broken body and all, I felt a spark of life return. For the first time since the fall, I wasn't just a victim lying in a hospital bed. I was Emily Thompson. I had built something world-changing, and no sister, no matter how ruthless, was going to steal it from me. I thought of Olivia's smirk as she told me to stay out of the way. I thought of my parents' betrayal, their cruel words about shame. And I made myself a promise. They would all see who I really was. This wasn't just survival anymore. This was war. Leaving the hospital felt like walking into battle with broken armor. My leg was still weak. My head throbbed when I moved too quickly, but I couldn't wait any longer. If Olivia thought she'd buried me under false records and forged signatures, she didn't know who she was dealing with. Alex arranged for me to meet Olivia face-to-face, a risky move, but he insisted it could be the best way to capture proof. Massachusetts law allowed me to record her without her consent, and if she was arrogant enough, she might admit everything. That's how I found myself in a dimly lit cafe in downtown Boston, a small recorder hidden in my purse. My heart pounded as Olivia walked in, heels clicking against the tile, her expression sharp and polished. She didn't look like a sister meeting family. She looked like an executive ready to close a deal. "Emily," she said smoothly, sliding into the booth across from me. "I have to admit, I was surprised you wanted to meet." I forced a smile, though my hands trembled under the table. "I just wanted to talk. Clear the air." She tilted her head, studying me like a predator eyeing prey. "Clear the air? After everything? You should be thanking me. I saved you from drowning in responsibilities you couldn't handle." My jaw tightened. "You mean stealing my contract?" "My work." Her laugh was low and cold. "Work you never could have sold without me." "Let's not pretend, Emily. You're brilliant, sure. But brilliance doesn't get contracts signed. Influence does. Connections do. And that's me, not you." I leaned forward, letting my voice sharpen. "So you admit it. You've been taking credit for my algorithm." She smirked. "Oh, I've been doing more than that. I'm the name attached now. The executives see me as the future. They trust me, not the sister who fell down the stairs and can't even walk straight." The words stabbed deep, but I kept my expression calm, my purse angled just right so the recorder caught every syllable. "Do Mom and Dad know what you're doing?" I asked. Olivia's eyes gleamed with cruel satisfaction. "Of course they do. They've always known who the real star is. You were never meant to outshine me, Emily. You should have stayed in your lane." I clenched my fists under the table, every muscle in my body screaming to lash out. But I forced myself to breathe, to let her arrogance dig her own grave. When she finally left, I slipped the recorder back into my pocket. My hands shook as I whispered to myself, "Got you." That night, I met Alex and Mia in Alex's office, the city lights glowing through the window behind us. I played the recording, Olivia's voice filling the room with venomous pride. Alex's eyes narrowed. "This is gold." A direct admission she's claiming the contract is hers. Judges love this kind of arrogance on tape. Mia crossed her arms. "It's not enough." "She'll spin it? Say she was joking or that you twisted her words. We need more." That's when Alex brought in another ally. Laura, a private investigator with a sharp gaze and a no-nonsense tone. She slid a file onto the desk. "I've been following Olivia's trail," Laura said. She paid $10,000 to a colleague, Ryan Carter, to forge internal documents. Bank transfers, messages, it's all here. She flipped through photographs of checks, screenshots of emails. My stomach turned as I saw Olivia's name, her signature authorizing payments. "She didn't even bother to cover her tracks," Laura added. "Classic case of greed." Mia's eyes lit with fury. I knew Ryan was shady, but this? Selling out to Olivia? Alex leaned back, steepling his fingers. "Between this and the recording, we're building a strong case. But we'll need testimony, too. Dr. Ellis's report on the falsified medical records will tie it all together." "As if on cue, Doctor." Ellis walked in, carrying a thick folder. I reviewed everything. The tampering was deliberate. Dates altered, symptoms exaggerated, conditions fabricated. I'll testify to it under oath. The hospital administration is already investigating who accessed your files without authorization. I took the folder, my chest tightening with a mix of anger and relief. For weeks, I'd felt powerless, broken in a hospital bed while Olivia rewrote my life. But now, with each piece of evidence stacked before me, I felt my strength return. She thought no one would believe me, I said quietly. She thought I'd stay down. Mia squeezed my hand. She doesn't know who she's dealing with. Alex's voice was calm but firm. Emily, trials are brutal. Olivia will fight back. She'll twist stories, bring in false witnesses, maybe even your parents. Are you prepared for that? I looked out the window at the glowing Boston skyline. My legs still ached, my body still weak, but my resolve had never been stronger. Yes, I said. I'm prepared. She wanted a war, and she's going to get one. A week later, another message arrived from Laura. She had intercepted internal company emails where Olivia blatantly claimed she'd designed the algorithm herself. Her arrogance bled through every line. I read one aloud to Alex and Mia. My algorithm is the future of diagnostics. Emily helped here and there, but the vision was mine. Mia nearly slammed the table. I can't wait to watch her try to explain that lie under oath. Alex nodded. Emails, forged documents, altered medical files, recorded confession. This isn't just a case anymore. It's a takedown. Olivia's about to learn that the law doesn't bend to entitlement. For the first time in weeks, I allowed myself a small, genuine smile. She had pushed me down the stairs, left me to rot, stolen everything I worked for. But now, piece by piece, her empire of lies was crumbling, and I was going to be the one to bury it. The night before the trial, I couldn't sleep. The city outside my apartment window glowed with neon signs and distant headlights, but inside, my world felt like a storm brewing in silence. Stacks of files, printouts, and evidence lay scattered across my dining table. Emails, forged signatures, doctor. Ellis's report, the recording of Olivia's confession. It looked less like a home and more like a war room. Mia sat on the couch with a mug of coffee, her eyes following me as I paced back and forth. Emily, you need rest. Tomorrow is going to be brutal. I shook my head. I can't. What if I forget something? What if I freeze up on the stand? What if... My voice cracked. What if no one believes me? Mia stood, crossing the room to grip my shoulders. Listen to me. You've built something revolutionary. You've survived things most people couldn't even imagine. You were pushed down a staircase, left for dead, abandoned by your own parents, and you're still here. You think a courtroom can break you after all that? Her words hit hard, but doubt still gnawed at me. She's our parents' favorite. They'll stand with her. They always do. From the corner, Alex spoke up. He had been reviewing papers, calm and methodical as ever, but now he looked at me directly. Let them. The evidence doesn't lie, Emily. Parents can choose sides, executives can be fooled, but facts don't bend. Judges see through lies. And tomorrow, Olivia's lies will collapse. I sank into the chair, running a hand through my hair. I never wanted this. I wanted my family to be proud of me. I wanted us to celebrate together. How did it come to this? Silence stretched for a moment. Then Mia's voice, gentle but firm. Because Olivia never wanted a sister. She wanted a rival. And now she's about to learn what it means to lose. I looked at the pile of evidence again. For the first time, I didn't just see papers, I saw weapons. Proof of who I was, what I had built, and what I deserved. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. Tomorrow, I take my life back. Alex gave a small, approving nod. And tomorrow, Olivia learned she can't bury the truth. The three of us stood there in silence, the weight of what lay ahead pressing down on us. But beneath that weight, a fire burned in me. I wasn't just walking into a courtroom. I was walking into the reckoning my sister had created with her own hands. And I was ready. The Boston courthouse loomed above me, a fortress of glass and stone. Inside, the air was sharp with tension, murmurs echoing off the high ceilings. Every step I took toward the courtroom doors felt heavier than the last, as if the entire weight of my past was pressing down on my shoulders. When the bailiff finally called, "All rise," I stood with trembling legs. My parents were already seated in the gallery, stiff and cold. They didn't look at me. Their eyes were fixed on Olivia, who sat at the defense table in a sleek navy suit, her chin raised like a queen about to win her crown. The judge entered, gray-haired and stern. "This court will hear the case of Thompson versus Thompson regarding fraud, conspiracy, and unlawful transfer of contract rights." My heart pounded as Alex rose. "Your Honor, we will show that Olivia Thompson deliberately attempted to steal her sister Emily Thompson's intellectual property and contract through fraud, forgery, and manipulation of medical records." Olivia's lawyer, a slick man with a silver tie, stood smoothly. "We will prove that Emily Thompson is unstable, incapable of managing such responsibility, and that Olivia Thompson acted only in the best interest of the company and their family." I clenched my fists. Unstable. That was their weapon. The trial began. Alex called the first witness. Me. I took the stand, palms clammy as I swore the oath. The courtroom lights felt blinding as I looked out, seeing Olivia's smirk and my parents' expressionless faces. "Miss Thompson," Alex began, his voice steady. "Can you tell the court what happened on the night of your accident?" I swallowed hard. I had just secured a $10 million contract for my algorithm. I went to my parents' house to share the news. Olivia confronted me, accused me of stealing her spotlight. The argument escalated. At the top of the stairs, she shoved me. I fell. I hit my head and leg. I blacked out. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Olivia's smirk faltered, but only slightly. Alex leaned closer. "And what did you discover when you woke up?" "That my parents never visited, that my bank accounts were frozen, that documents had been filed declaring me incapacitated, and that Olivia was claiming credit for my algorithm." The judge nodded grimly. "We'll examine the evidence." Then Alex pressed play on the recording. Olivia's voice filled the courtroom. "I'm the name attached now. The executives see me as the future. They trust me, not the sister who fell down the stairs and can't even walk straight." Whispers exploded in the gallery. Olivia's face paled, her jaw tightening. Her lawyer jumped up. "Objection. That's taken out of context." The judge waved a hand. "Overruled. The recording stands." Next came Laura, the investigator. She presented copies of bank transfers from Olivia to Ryan Carter. $10,000 to forge internal company documents, Your Honor. Payments traced directly from Olivia Thompson's account. Ryan himself was forced to testify. His face was pale, his voice shaky. She told me it was just paperwork. That Emily was too sick to handle it. I didn't know it would go this far." Alex's voice cut like steel. "And did Olivia instruct you to backdate signatures and reassign intellectual property rights?" Ryan's eyes darted to Olivia, then down to the floor. "Yes." Dr. Ellis was next. He stepped forward, crisp white coat over his suit, carrying the folder. "Your Honor, Emily's medical records were deliberately altered. Symptoms of brain damage and permanent cognitive decline were inserted into her file. I reviewed every note. The changes were malicious, not accidental." The judge's brow furrowed deeply. "You are certain?" "Absolutely." "And the hospital's internal logs show the access came from someone connected to Olivia Thompson's legal team." By the time Alex was finished presenting, the weight of evidence hung thick in the room. The judge turned toward Olivia's side. "Defense, your witness." Olivia rose to testify. She held herself tall, voice honey-sweet, but the cracks were showing. "I only wanted to help my sister," she began. "She was hurt, confused. I stepped in to protect the company, to protect her legacy. I never meant for any of this to happen." Alex's cross-examination cut through her facade. Miss Thompson, is this your voice on the recording, claiming the algorithm as your own? Her lips trembled. It was taken out of context. And is this your account number tied to the transfer to Ryan Carter? That money was for consulting. And these emails? Your words, my algorithm is the future of diagnostics. Her face reddened. I meant it metaphorically. Metaphor doesn't hold up in fraud cases, Miss Thompson. Finally, I was recalled for rebuttal. Alex asked one last question. Emily, after everything, after the fall, the forged documents, your family abandoning you, why are you here today? I looked straight at Olivia, my voice steady despite the quiver in my chest. Because the truth matters. Because no one should be able to steal, lie, and destroy lives without consequence. I built that algorithm. I bled for it. And I won't let greed erase me. For the first time, Olivia's smirk shattered completely. The courtroom was silent. Even my parents looked shaken, their faces pale as if they were seeing the truth for the first time. The judge's gavel struck the bench. This court has heard enough. The evidence presented, recordings, financial transfers, forged documents, and medical tampering, makes it abundantly clear. Olivia Thompson engaged in fraud, conspiracy, and attempted theft of intellectual property. Sentencing will be determined immediately. My breath caught. After weeks of pain, betrayal, and silence, justice was finally within reach. As the gavel echoed through the courtroom, I glanced toward the gallery. My mother sat frozen, her hands trembling, her eyes wide and glassy. My father's face had gone pale, his jaw locked tight as if he were struggling to swallow the truth laid bare before him. No, this can't be true, my mother whispered, her voice cracking. She turned to my father, tears welling in her eyes. Olivia, our daughter. Did she really do all of this? My father didn't answer. He bowed his head, his hands gripping the wooden bench so tightly his knuckles turned white. For the first time in my life, the man who had always bragged about Olivia at every dinner table, every holiday gathering, sat in stunned silence. Then my mother's gaze shifted toward me. For the first time in years, her eyes held no scorn, no dismissal. Only shock, sorrow, and something dangerously close to regret. Emily, she breathed, as if saying my name hurt. But I didn't respond. I kept my focus forward, my back straight, my heart heavy but steady. This wasn't about winning their love anymore. It was about truth. It was about justice finally standing taller than favoritism. Beside me, Olivia lowered her head, her lips pressed into a thin line, her confidence shattered. And in that silence, I realized what had truly broken my parents. It wasn't just the evidence, or the lies, or even the fraud. It was the collapse of the illusion they had clung to for years. They had chosen the wrong child to believe in, the wrong child to protect. And now they were watching their golden daughter stripped bare before the law. For the first time, it wasn't me they doubted. It was her. ... The judge's voice cut through the silence, deliberate and final. Olivia Thompson, this court finds you guilty of fraud, conspiracy, and attempted theft of intellectual property. You are hereby sentenced to 4 years in state prison. The words struck like a hammer. Olivia's face, once smug and untouchable, drained of color. Her lips parted in shock, as though she truly believed her lies would carry her through. She turned toward my parents, eyes wide, desperate for rescue. But this time, there was nothing they could do. The judge continued. Ryan Carter, for your role in this conspiracy, you are sentenced to 2 years in prison. Ryan lowered his head, shame painting every line of his face. Then the judge's gaze shifted to the gallery. Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, this court recognizes your role in enabling and attempting to benefit from these fraudulent acts. You are ordered to pay $75,000 in civil damages. Gasps filled the room. My mother let out a choked sob, burying her face in trembling hands. My father sat rigid, staring at the floor, his jaw locked, the proud figure of my childhood now reduced to silence and disgrace. For once, Olivia's smile was gone. For once, my parents had nothing to say. The gavel struck. Justice was done. As we left the courthouse, I felt the crisp Boston air against my skin, each breath filling me with something I hadn't felt in years. Freedom. Olivia was escorted away in handcuffs, her perfect suit crumpled, her eyes wild with panic. She had spent her whole life clawing for validation, tearing me down to lift herself up. Now she would spend 4 years behind bars, stripped of the very power she thought was her birthright. My parents trailed behind me, pale and shaken. For a moment, my mother reached out as if to speak. "Emily, please." But I turned to face them, my voice steady, sharper than I'd ever dared. "No, you chose Olivia, always, even when she pushed me down, even when she forged my name, even when I was fighting for my life. You chose her. I'm done." The words hung in the air like a door slamming shut. For the first time, I wasn't begging for their love. I was ending the cycle. I walked away, not looking back. That chapter of my life was over. The company restored the $10 million contract to me. My name was cleared, my reputation intact. But I didn't just want money. I wanted meaning. I invested $500,000 into a foundation in Boston, dedicated to helping victims of family betrayal and abuse. Legal aid, safe housing, resources for people who, like me, had been crushed by the very people who should have loved them most. In my new apartment overlooking the Charles River, I stood at the window one evening and let the city lights wash over me. For years, I had fought for scraps of approval from a family that never truly saw me. But now, I didn't need them. I had my work, changing lives through medicine. I had my foundation, protecting the vulnerable. And I had my freedom, the greatest victory of all. Olivia was behind bars. My parents were left to face the emptiness of the pedestal they had built on lies. And me? I finally stepped into the life I was meant to live. For every betrayal, I had found justice. For every wound, I had carved out strength. The future no longer frightened me. It was waiting, open, bright, and